Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments. You can go to Ministry Moments YouTube and subscribe, Bob Gray Sr., and that way you'll just get this every week. You can watch it at your convenience, and you can go to solvechurchproblems.com, and I would subscribe there because there are a lot of tools that you could add to your toolbox from that solvechurchproblems.com. I travel the country so long, and I caused so much trouble. I figured before I went to meet the Lord, I need to start solving some of the problems I caused. Anyway, solvechurchproblems.com. And then Ministry Moments podcast, wherever you get your podcast, you can go ahead and get this. And again, watch it at your leisure. And you're busy, I'm busy. And that way you'll be able to watch it. It's not a sermon. There's no preaching here in the sense of a Sunday morning, Sunday night type approach. What I like to do is just give you some thoughts from things I've been through and others have been through that maybe might be able to make life a little bit more blessed for you. And so today I want to talk to you about church splits. I'm an expert there. Church splits. I was reading the American Baptist denomination. You're not going to believe this, but it's true. They had business meetings on Saturday night once a month. And I'm just a kid. But boy, it was raucous. I remember having to call the police. What a testimony, huh? But business meetings, I learned a lot. Really, when I went to Hyles Anderson, man, my eyes were open to the biblical way of running church business and so on. And thank God for Dr. Hyles. Thank God for Dr. Lee Robertson, Curtis Hudson, Tom Malone, all those great men, others that I could name. Jack Hudson, little known, but great man in Charlotte, North Carolina. But I've seen my share. I've been through one split really in Longview in March of 1981. I went to pastor school and came back, and it split while I was gone. And God bless Brother Roloff. He came and was such a blessing to me and helped me during those days. And he did. He helped me during those days. But we've had splinters. And but I deal with, I've been traveling all these years, preaching these years, 27,000 plus sermons. And I've been in every state in the union but North Dakota. And I ain't going there because it's cold. So I've, even to this day, I take phone calls. Just took one just a little while ago. And I try to be a blessing, try to help. But let me just give you some thoughts about this matter of church splits. And I hope you don't have one. I hope you never go through this, but it's a heartache. And it hurts. It hurts. Number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. You may say, well, what does that got to do with that? Well, when we supplant Jesus with the pastor or deacons or elders or whatever you want to call them, or charter members or trustees, or whatever you call them, you're making a big mistake. Jesus is the head of the local church. He is the cornerstone. He is the head. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. The pastor is the under shepherd. I'm talking about church splits now. Don't leave me. I'm laying a foundation here. Jesus is the head of the local church, which means the pastor's not, which means the deacons are not, which means the trustees are not, and it means the charter members are not. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been there. Jesus is the head of the local church. Now, he gave us instruction in the scriptures, exactly what we're to do. We don't have the kind of music that we want to have, the kind of music Jesus wants us to have. We don't have the kind of standards we want to have. We have the kind that Jesus wants. And my wife, she loves banjo picking. If she had her way, we'd be picking a banjo every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. She likes those Dillards off of Mayberry, Andy Griffith show. I said one time, real house, I said, she loves Andy and Barney Fife, loves Barney Fife. And she said, well, probably because he's more of a man than you are. You can't outdo him. Number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. It's very important. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Number three, the deacons are helpers to the pastor. The deacons are helpers to the pastor. I had a church I pastored many years, God bless them, and I retired. And I said, oh, Pat, yeah, retire. We'll take care of you and Mrs. Gray. Yeah, we will. And it didn't take very long. They turned on me and cut the retirement out and so on, and then lied and said I tried to sue the church. The biggest lie that's ever been told. I've never sued anybody in 50 years of ministry, 77 years of life. Never have. In fact, it's so stupid. All you have to do is go to the local, go to Gregg County and find out. It's on record. Anytime you sue somebody, it's on record. You won't find it there because it ain't there. But I lost several preacher boys over it. And preacher boys quit listening to me and didn't want anything to do with me. And lost friends too, because they believed a lie. But talking about church split, sound like I'm trying to split something here, and I'm not. Number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Jesus did that. He chose that. God chose that. Number three, the deacons are helpers to the pastor. No deacon has a right to tell me I can't have an online college. There's no deacon has a right to tell me I can't have a ministry. There's no deacon alive that could tell me that. I told the pastor, I said, you can tell your deacons take a long walk off a short pier. Sounds like I'm splitting things here, but I'm heading somewhere. Number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Number three, the deacons are helpers to the pastor. Number four, an organized church is less apt to split. Let me say it again. An organized church is less apt to split. If Jesus is the head, and you know that, and the scriptures tell us what kind of standards they have, what our mission is, what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, Jesus is the head of the local church. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. He's not the head, he's the under shepherd. He just, Brother Roloff said one time, I'm not a dictator, I'm a duplicator. God is the dictator. I like that. Number four, an organized church is less apt to split. When you're disorganized, you're asking for trouble. You've got to organize your church so it's a clear way of doing things and meetings. I had staff meetings every morning. I was out of town preaching Monday, Tuesday. I got back to town on Wednesday, but I had staff member do that. Thursday night soul, I was always here. And I had some staff member get up and do what we call the red soul winner paper, 20 minutes. It was organized. Now I got the last 5 minutes. We had weekly teachers and workers meeting. It was organized. Superintendents, an aggressive graded Sunday school, aggressive, organized. Soul winning, organized. Staff, organized. Ministry, organized. Didn't start anything without having it organized. All right. Number five, an aggressive soul winning church is less apt to split. Aggressive soul winning church is less apt to split. When you're after souls, winning souls, getting people saved, baptized every week, you're less apt to split. When you're wandering around and just examining everything around you, the next thing you know, it's too hot in here, too cold in here, he's too much power, electricity bill's too high. So, now, church splits. Talking about church splits. Number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. All right, he calls the shots, and he gives us a Bible to help us. Number two, the pastor's the under shepherd, and so he keeps it organized. Number three, the deacons are helpers to the pastor, not leaders. They're helpers to the pastor. Cut the lawn, take care of the widows. Acts 7, so clear. All right, so number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Number three, the deacons help the pastor. Don't tell the pastor what ministries he can have, what he can't have. You don't vote on who I want to have preach for. You don't do that. None of your business. Now, if it's about money, everybody gets a vote. I like that thing Brother House used to do when he preached a service, seeing him who was invisible. He'd walk around the platform and say, see, all of it belongs to me. I vote on anything you want to, but you're not going to tell me how to run that. I like that because it's true. Organized church is less apt to split. An aggressive soul winning church is less apt to split. When you're people going to hell, burning in hell, and you're locked in on that, you're winning souls, and how many did you win? And I've got how many you got for the water, and so on and so forth. You're not going to split as likely. Number six, weekly stirring of the baptismal waters is a church that is less apt to split. When you stir the baptismal waters every week, there's something about stirring them. And it keeps you excited, and you keep going after it. And you stir more. Oh, I remember Brother Winters and I were standing there one Sunday, and we'd baptized 10 people, I think it was. And I started crying. He said, what's the matter? I said, do you think we'll ever baptize 20 people in that pool? And I pointed the baptistry up there. He said, I don't know. He said, that's an awful lot of people. At that time, Clyde Box baptized 1,000 DeSoto, Texas every year. He was the leading church in the state of Texas. Far beyond no Southern Baptist church, not even Criswell, touched him. And an amazing man, an amazing ministry. But there's something about stirring those waters every week. Keep them stirred, winning souls. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. You're less apt to split. Number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Number three, the deacons are helpers to the pastor. Not telling him what to do, you're helpers. What does he need done? Help him to be able to minister in prayer and Bible study and preaching and teaching and leading. Number four, an organized church is less apt to split. So let the pastor organize it. So when an evangelist said, we're organizing the Holy Spirit out in St. Louis, we're preaching together. And in the car, he said, what do you think about that? I said, I don't believe it. He said, what do you mean? I said, you organize the Holy Spirit in, not out. He said, chapter and verse. I said, I whipped over to Ezekiel and I said, the valley of dry bones. What God did, God put it all together, and then bones, and then sinew, and then flesh, and he breathed into it, but he had to have a form first. All right, so number one, Jesus is the head of the local church. We're talking about church splits now. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Number three, the deacons are helpers to the pastor. Number four, an organized church is less apt to split. Number five, an aggressive soul winning church is less apt to split. Number six, weekly stirring of the baptismal waters. That church is less apt to split. Number seven, when you have leadership and you have organized leadership or unified leadership, it's less apt to split. That's why we've brainstormed. It's a very important word. Brainstorm. We get everybody in a room. We brainstorm spring campaign, brainstorm fall campaign, big day, Bible conferences, teen convention, the college and everything organized and together. And we constantly, I remember one time, I was a little bit frustrated. I said, Brother House, how often do you get your way in these brainstorming meetings? He said, about 25% of the time. Well, I felt pretty good. That's about what I was at. I sometimes bring something to somebody say, Pastor, I don't think that'll work. I wouldn't do that. That's what I want. Okay. I'm talking about church splits, avoiding church splits. Church splits. Jesus is the head of the local church. Number two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Number three, the deacons are the helpers to the pastor. Number four, an organized church is less apt to split. Number five, an aggressive soul winning church is less apt to split. We had 8 soul winning times. Aggressive, going after, constantly encouraging each other. Number six, stirring the waters, baptismal waters every week. You're less apt to split. Baptizing. Let me tell you something. In 30 years, 3 decades in Longview, one Sunday night, we didn't baptize. My children have never seen a Sunday where they haven't seen somebody saved and somebody baptized. Never. But one Sunday night, we had nobody. We had people in the album. We had nobody baptized. And it killed me. I thought God taking his hand off of me. Honestly, it just killed me. It just killed me. And I remember going to the airport back in those days, a twin-engine Otter, which was a flying warehouse is all it was, converted American Eagle. We'd fly from Longview to Tyler, pick up passengers, and go to DFW. And it was pouring down rain. I was broken. I put on a pair of sunglasses. I didn't want anybody to see me cry. I was stupid, wasn't it? Got on that plane, sat down, seat 8A. It's exit row. I'm on the single side and had 2 seats on the other side. So I said 8A. That was my seat. I always got it. And it took off Longview. I'm sitting there looking out the window and I'm thinking, God, please don't take your hand off of me. And then landed in Tyler and people got on. And a guy is sat in 8B. I was in 8A. He was in 8B. I'm looking out the window. It's raining now. I got sunglasses on. He reached over and tapped me on the leg and he said, I think Jesus could help you. I don't know what your problem is, but I think Jesus could help you. And he witnessed to me. The only time it's ever happened to me. And I remember at one point he said, what do you do for a living? And I didn't want to tell him I was a pastor. I said, I'm a public speaker. You call that lying. But anyway, I took the gospel tract and thanked him. I never did have the nerve to tell him. But that's the only time in 30 years. And up north, we never missed it. 4 years up north, never missed. And we didn't miss in Texas either, except for that one Sunday night, but never a Sunday. We're talking about church. One, Jesus is the head of the local church. Two, the pastor is the under shepherd. Three, the deacons are helpers to the pastor. Number four, organized church is less apt to split. An aggressive soul winning church, number five, is less apt to split. Number six, weekly stirring of the baptism waters. That church is less apt to split. Number seven, unified leadership is less apt to split a church. Unified leadership. That's why we would brainstorm, meet together, and we pour our hearts out and we work together, and that was teamwork. We were unified. Number eight, most splits are not doctrinal but personal. My experience, most splits are not doctrinal but personal, and it's sad. It's sad. There's no reason for you to become so abrasive because you don't like somebody, and let that thing fester and let it get worse and worse and worse until you have knockdown drag. I've watched it. It's so sad. It's so sad. It should not happen. So if you have a split, I'm just predicting it won't be because of doctrine. It'll be because of personality. And principle should dictate, not personality. And I would preach that often, that principle versus personality. Let principle dictate. There's a difference between curative and preventative leadership. You start curing things that have already happened, you've been in a tough spot. But Brother Howes would say often, get this tape. You may not need it now, but there's going to come a day when you will need it. And that's preventative. And that's the best kind of leadership to prevent church splits. God bless you. If you're going through one, my heart's out to you. You're going to be okay. Keep winning souls. Keep baptizing. Just keep on going. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It'll be decade growth, but you'll be fine. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Win souls. Get them ready for Sunday. God bless you. See you next week.